A woman came into the clinic with a broken arm and spent 40 minutes arguing that the doctor should know what she had without any examination because good doctors just know. She refused x-rays, refused basic assessment, and expected diagnosis through telepathy. When the doctor finally examined her, she complained that the physical touch was invasive and demanded diagnosis without being touched. She left a one-star review claiming the clinic was unnecessarily hands-on. This guy showed up to his appointment 3 weeks late, then accused the hospital of double booking when his time slot had been filled by another patient. He demanded immediate service despite missing his scheduled time and seemed genuinely confused about how appointment systems work. When offered the next available slot, he insisted he shouldn't have to wait and threatened legal action for being pushed aside. Patients often surprise you, but this one really took it. A mother brought her teenage daughter in for a routine checkup, complained the entire time about the cost, then demanded the doctor provide free follow-up care because good health care is a right, not a service. When explained that doctors need to be compensated for their work, she accused the hospital of holding healthcare hostage for profit and demanded the visit be free retroactively. Another individual walked into urgent care, informed staff he had probably cancer or maybe a virus, refused to describe actual symptoms, and demanded expensive tests immediately. When asked specific health questions, he insisted doctors are supposed to figure it out and refused to cooperate with basic history taking. He later complained online that the doctors were incompetent for not diagnosing his mysterious illness. Upon visiting the clinic, someone demanded antibiotics for a viral infection despite being told antibiotics don't work on viruses. She insisted the doctor was wrong about science and demanded medication anyway because powerful drugs always help. When refusing to prescribe unnecessary antibiotics, he was labeled not a real doctor, and she demanded a refund for the consultation despite receiving professional medical advice. Presenting with a complaint about her medication side effects, a patient blamed the doctor for the side effects rather than discussing alternatives. She'd been prescribed medication, ignored the provided information about potential side effects, experienced them, and now demanded the doctor pay for the damages. When told this was a normal medication interaction, she accused the doctor of deliberately prescribing harmful drugs. This patient arrived with a list of health concerns. She diagnosed herself using internet searches and demanded the doctor prescribe treatments for her self-diagnosed conditions. She'd convinced herself she had 17 different illnesses based on WebMD articles. When the actual examination revealed she was generally healthy, she accused the doctor of dismissing her legitimate health crisis and demanded to see another doctor who would take her seriously. During a physical examination, someone refused to allow the doctor to check her vitals because she claimed machines steal your life force. She wanted medical care but insisted on completely avoiding all medical instruments and technology. When told that blood pressure readings don't extract life force, she accused the clinic of promoting pseudoscientific device culture and demanded holistic care that somehow still included prescription medications. A man came in demanding the doctor prescribe him powerful pain medication for a condition he refused to specify or allow to be examined. He insisted on getting drugs without diagnosis and accused the doctor of gatekeeping medicine when they asked basic questions about his symptoms. He later filed a complaint claiming the doctor was discriminatory against pain patients for requiring, actual medical assessment. This patient insisted her symptoms could only be treated by a specific doctor who worked at a different hospital 30 miles away, demanded the clinic transfer her records immediately, and expected her current doctor to facilitate this despite the doctor having no relationship with that facility. When told she could request her own records, she accused the clinic of preventing patient autonomy and demanded the transfer be arranged by staff for free. Arriving at the ER with what appeared to be a minor issue, someone demanded a full MRI, CT scan, ultrasound, and blood work despite showing no signs of serious injury. When the doctor performed a basic assessment and found nothing wrong, the patient accused the medical team of being lazy and not actually investigating. When told that excessive testing without symptoms isn't medically appropriate, she demanded the tests be done anyway at no cost because thorough care is a right. One individual came in complaining about back pain but refused all treatment options: physical therapy, medication, injections, anything actually proven to help. She wanted the doctor to just fix it without her doing anything or receiving any intervention. When explained that back pain treatment requires participation, she claimed the doctor was dismissing her pain and demanding a second opinion, hoping someone would magically cure her without involvement. This person showed up demanding antibiotics because everyone at my office is sick and I want to prevent getting sick. She had zero symptoms, wasn't actually ill, and wanted preventive antibiotics for a condition she didn't have. When told this promotes antibiotic resistance and is medically inappropriate, she accused the doctor of not actually caring about prevention and demanded medication anyway. A patient refused to follow any medical advice but expected perfect health outcomes. She ignored diabetes management instructions, didn't take prescribed medications, refused dietary changes, yet somehow expected the doctor to make her healthy through willpower or lectures. When her health declined due to noncompliance, she blamed the doctor for not doing enough, despite the doctor providing comprehensive care that she refused to implement. During consultation, someone spent the entire appointment arguing about the doctor's credentials rather than discussing her actual health concerns. She'd looked up the doctor online, found information she didn't like, and wanted to debate education and training instead of receiving care. When asked about her symptoms, she insisted the credentials discussion was more important than whatever medical stuff is happening. This guy demanded the doctor explain his entire treatment plan in layman's terms, then refused to believe the simplified explanation and demanded medical jargon instead. When the doctor used proper terminology, he complained it was too complicated and pretentious. He seemed to want the doctor to be simultaneously incomprehensible and perfectly clear, which is impossible. A patient came in with migraines and demanded powerful medication immediately without any examination or history. When the doctor asked basic diagnostic questions to understand the migraine pattern, she accused him of wasting time with questions when I already know I need strong drugs. She wanted medication based purely on her self-assessment and threatened to report the doctor for not giving me what I need. Upon arrival, someone claimed to have a life-threatening allergic reaction that apparently wasn't life-threatening enough to prevent her from sitting in the waiting room for 20 minutes criticizing everything. The doctor who eventually saw her found she had a mild food sensitivity, not an allergy. She demanded immediate hospitalization and medications for an overblown condition, then complained about unnecessary emergency room charges. This individual insisted the doctor was wrong about his diagnosis because it didn't match his theory he'd developed. He'd convinced himself he had a specific rare disease and refused to accept the actual diagnosis. When the doctor provided medical evidence, he claimed the doctor was hiding information and part of a medical conspiracy. He later complained that medicine was too close-minded to accept new theories. A patient demanded the clinic see her immediately despite making an appointment weeks ahead with zero urgent symptoms. When told her scheduled appointment time would be honored, she accused the staff of discrimination and claimed that good healthcare would prioritize her. She refused to understand that appointment systems work on a first-come, first-served basis and expected special treatment. During a routine checkup, someone continuously interrupted the doctor with questions about completely unrelated conditions, then got upset when the doctor said the appointment was for one specific issue. She wanted the doctor to diagnose and treat 17 different things in 15 minutes. When told this wasn't feasible, she complained about rushed care and accused the clinic of not actually helping patients. This person came in convinced they were dying and demanded emergency treatment, yet refused to describe symptoms or allow examination. They wanted the doctor to diagnose a fatal illness through pure intuition. When the doctor explained that medical assessment requires information, the patient accused them of not being a real doctor and demanded a refund for the useless consultation. A patient refused to give medical history, refused to describe symptoms, refused physical examination, yet somehow expected accurate diagnosis and treatment. When the doctor explained that medical care requires patient participation and information sharing, she claimed the doctor was lazy and incompetent. She seemed to expect doctors to cure her without knowing anything about her health. Upon checking in, someone demanded the doctor call in prescriptions for medications they'd never been prescribed based on seeing an advertisement on television. They wanted powerful pharmaceutical drugs because a commercial made them sound helpful. When the doctor explained this isn't how prescription medications work, they accused him of gatekeeping medicine and not trusting patients to know their own bodies. This individual complained constantly about wait times despite scheduling an appointment and arriving exactly on time. They spent the appointment time complaining about how long it took to get the appointment and about being seen too slowly. When the doctor started the examination, they interrupted to complain about the speed of the examination. They left a review saying the clinic was inefficient despite moving at normal speed. A patient came in demanding a specific test they'd read about online and refused to listen to medical reasoning for why it wasn't appropriate for their situation. They'd become convinced they needed this particular test based on an internet article and expected the doctor to order it without medical indication. When the doctor declined, they accused the medical system of not following patient preferences. During a follow-up visit, someone complained that their medication was too expensive and demanded the doctor provide it for free or switch to something they thought would be cheaper. They refused to discuss insurance options or generic alternatives and seemed to believe the doctor should personally subsidize their medication costs. When this didn't happen, they blamed the healthcare system rather than exploring actual options. This person showed up for an appointment about a cough, spent the entire visit complaining about the clinic's decor, the temperature, the music in the waiting room, and the receptionist's tone. They never actually wanted to discuss their cough. When the doctor tried to examine them, they complained about not having time for this medical stuff. They left saying the clinic was too focused on medicine. A patient demanded the doctor perform procedures that were completely unnecessary and medically contraindicated, insisting they knew better than the trained physician. They'd seen a procedure done on a TV medical drama and wanted it done to them regardless of whether they actually needed it. When the doctor refused to perform inappropriate procedures, they threatened to sue for medical negligence. Upon coming in, someone demanded confidentiality about their visit despite telling the entire waiting room about their conditions and medical history while checking in. They wanted privacy for themselves, but spent the appointment asking the doctor detailed questions about other patients' visible conditions. When told about HIPAA, they accused the clinic of being overly secretive about health care. This individual came in with a health issue that would take weeks to resolve, demanded a miraculous cure within minutes, and got upset when told healing takes time. They wanted instant results, refused any treatment that required patience or follow-up, and expected complete recovery from a single visit. When reality didn't match their timeline, they blamed the doctor for not actually helping. A patient refused to remove their jacket during examination, refused to roll up their sleeves for blood pressure checks, refused to lie down for necessary exams, then complained that the doctor couldn't properly assess their health. They wanted diagnosis without allowing any of the physical examination that diagnosis requires. When the doctor couldn't magically see through clothing and assess conditions they weren't allowed to examine, they blamed poor medical care.